Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Amps. And boy is it a nice day out today. Alright, now, here we are, a new episode, and something very interesting has come up. Now, recently, I saw an advertisement, for a guy selling a solid-state amp. And I know what you're thinking. Why would I ever look at a solid-state amp? Right? I mean, I love tube amps. That's what I play. However, there's something that made this amp very different than the usual solid-state amp. And I know you're filled with anticipation as I am. What is different about this amp? Well, I'll tell you what's different. Not only is this a solid-state amp, but this is a stereo chorus amp. Now, for some reason, and I'm not sure why this is, but there's a line from different manufacturers, and they were all the craze, I guess, of stereo solid-state chorus amps. This range everything from the Roland JC120, the PVs, right? I think, what is it called? Chorus 212 or something like that. I should know, I've got a couple of them. I don't remember the name. Okay, the PV chorus amps, Fender, Ultimate Chorus, Princeton Chorus. And these amps are really, really cool because they're stereo, first of all. Right? Which is very interesting. And built in is a stereo chorus, and you may ask yourself, well, now wait a minute. You mean I could just buy any old solid-state amp and buy a chorus pedal and get the exact same sound? I think you could get close. However, these particular amps with the chorus built in have their own sound to them. It's hard to explain, really, you know, and some of them have a really nice sound. I mean, one of my favorites is the PV. Here's the deal. Solid-state amps aren't exactly going for very high prices these days. Because of tube amps, of course. Right? However, they can deliver a really nice, clean guitar sound. You know? Inexpensively. Especially these stereo chorus amps. And in fact, if I were to buy a solid-state amp, that would be one of the very few reasons why I would buy one to begin with. You know, so I saw this advertisement, and the price was just ridiculous. I mean, it was very, very, very low. And as the guy said in his ad, he just wants to get rid of it, you know, get it out of here. And it was a 2x12 chorus amplifier. So basically, it was a crate G120C XL, right? And it boasts that it's 120 watts It boasts that it's 120 watts, has two 12-inch speakers, and they said it was in excellent condition. However, I mean, that's an older model, you know, Crate isn't around anymore, you know, but the price was so low, it's hard to believe. In fact, I went ahead and emailed the guy, and I thought, oh, well, it's gone probably by now. But he had just posted it. Well, it was a few minutes later, and I got an email back said, yeah, that sounds good. If you want it, it's yours. I mean, I had to, you know, pay him for it, of course. And then he adds, by the way, I bought a Behringer amp from you a while ago. Which is actually a good thing, because at least I have kind of an idea of who I'm dealing with, you know. And boy, these days, you know, you gotta be real careful. So, we might meet later today. I'm not sure. Now listen, I've had the little Crate. Oh, GX15, I think it was. Little tiny, puny practice amp. But actually, it sounded pretty darn good. Then, I realized that years ago, I made a video of a Crate G40C, which was a stereo chorus amp. And I liked it very much, but I think mine was a little messed up, because it was kind of noisy. Had it not been noisy, man, it would have been the greatest amp. So we'll see about that. Hopefully this one fares better. And it's like its bigger brother. It's quite huge, you know. Probably part of the reason he wants to get rid of it, you know. Because a 2x12 isn't, you know, it's a big amp. You know, for what you're getting for what he's asking, it's a true bargain of bargains. You know. We'll see. It may be all messed up, or it may not work out. Who knows? But I'm filled with anticipation to try it out. You know, now I've got a couple of these stereo combo chorus amps. You know, they're very, very cool. I mean, they really. And for some reason, to me anyway, just the feel of it and the overall sound is different than just plugging in a chorus pedal into an amp. I'm not sure why that is, but it just seems that way to me anyway. You know, and the PV, I really love the sound of that, and the chorus sound, and it has kind of a delay setting too, right? It doesn't say it does, but it does. And it's this huge sound, and it's very bizarre, you know, because on the back you can actually plug in kind of a line out effects only to another amp, and it gives you this really huge kind of 3D effect, you know. Now, interestingly, on the back of this Crate, I mean, I don't think this was intended as a toy, you know, or as a practice amp. The reason being is on the speaker outs, right, you have two 12-inch speakers, left and right, and even there they have an extra 1/4-inch output jack for parallel outputs to like external cabinets and things. But what's even cooler than that, and modern amps today have this feature, but this one had it way, way, way before that. Before the current amps, obviously. And that is that, one, you can defeat the speakers. There's a switch. You can turn off the speakers, right? And you would say, well, why would you want to do that? Well, I'll tell you why. According to the manual that I looked through, online, it has a headphone jack, so you could play with headphones, but also it has a line out. I even think it has a line in. I think so. But it has a line out. And the line out is XLR or 1/4 inch, which I thought was very interesting. Now, remember the 120 watts sounds really big and things, but keep in mind it's actually 2 separate power amps, right? And instead of 120 watts, they're running about 60 watts each. 60 watts for the left channel, 60 watts for the right channel. And another thing is, keep that in mind, it's also that's at 4 ohms. And at 8 ohms, it'd be a little less. With 2 12-inch speakers, And the speakers are crate special design. Who knows, I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they actually would probably sound pretty good. I'm not sure though, but I could be wrong. But basically, you're getting the whole amp for the price of one of the speakers, basically. That's kind of hard to pass up, And I just love stereo chorus amps, just because you get such a really nice, clean sound, And there's something to be said that, sometimes I just want to plug into an amp and play a bit, without having to go through a whole pedal board and a bunch of pedals and stuff, So here it's all built in, it's real nice, simple, with a great sound, hopefully. Alright, so we shall see. Hopefully I hear from him later today and might be coming home with this crate GX120C. Right? Now here's something interesting. I think that this amp is pretty old because I looked on YouTube just for videos, for playing examples, sound examples. And man, I think I found maybe, no, actually I didn't find any on this amp. However, I think it must be a later version. And instead of a 120 watts, I think it was the Crate G130 CXL. Right? And it looked kind of the same, kind of the same layout. I think so. This is probably just an older one. I'm not sure. I haven't really delved into crate lore or crate history, Anyway, it could be a really cool little amp, and it'd be perfect for me because it's this, stereo chorus amp, which I really, really like, And be quite honest, I can't recall a stereo tube chorus amp. I could be wrong. I'm sure there's somebody out there must make one, maybe orange or something like that. I don't know. Okay, so I actually met that guy, and it turns out I had already sold him an amplifier. So we kind of, knew each other just from past experience. And so he sold me this amplifier, and as a free bonus, he also included a free guitar stand. So, hard to complain for that. And gave me a super deal on it. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Okay, so here it is. This is the Crate G120C XL. And it's a 2x12 combo amp. 120 watts, however, it's stereo, so it's really 60 watts per channel at 4 ohms. Now, the reason why it's called the G120CXL, the C stands for chorus. And you have a depth and rate, and you can turn it on and off here. Then you have an effects loop right there. Then reverb. Then this is channel B right here. And so channel B has a gain, a level, a 3-band EQ, which is low, mid, and high, and a bright switch, which you can turn on and off right here. Right? So there's the gain, level, low, mid, high, and a bright switch, which you can turn on and off. And then channel A is gain, level, and shape. Right? Gain, level, and shape. And then you have right here an input. And this one is very interesting. The second one is a -6 dB pad input. So if your guitar is very hot, hot pickup, you can use the second input to get -6 dB of gain sensitivity. Alright, and then here you've got the two 12-inch speakers. And what's very interesting is that this grill cloth, right, I think that's his original grill cloth. There's the Crate logo. It's very bizarre because you can actually see through it. And you can actually see the speakers. Which, by the way, they're in great shape as well. And listen, I've seen some Crate amps from this era, and they're usually in really bad shape. And this one, that's not the case. It's actually in really pretty good shape. It's quite heavy. And I will say, one thing that I find very bizarre is the choice of different colored knobs, right? I mean, I guess it makes sense. But you have black knobs, red knobs, and blue knobs. I think just aesthetically, it may be better to have them all the same color. Now that's easily changed out. So I guess they have the levels on channel A and B, which is the volume, in red, and the reverb is in red, and then the chorus is in blue. And the EQ and the gain knobs are in black. Quite bizarre. Then you have an LED here, right there. Power on LED. And there you've got a power switch. Now, I was told by the previous owner that it's quite loud. And that remains to be seen. I have not tried it yet. So here, and now what I did do is I used some contact cleaner and cleaned it up a little bit. So here's the back of it. Right there. Right? So you can see it's quite a big amp. And I found this really fascinating. One, it's made in the USA. Right? Made in the USA by SLM Electronics. 1400 Ferguson Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. And going by the serial number, now I'm not sure I'm reading it correctly, it could be wrong, but it looks like it was made in 05 of 2004. That's very possible. I don't know for sure. But I think it's from that era anyway. So going across here, there you have right speaker, left speaker, and notice there are two jacks here. Right? See that? So you could add an external cabinet on the right or on the left. And these two jacks here go to the internal speakers, here and here. Next, and this is quite fascinating because, as I said, This is very reminiscent of modern amplifiers. You can turn the speakers on and off, which is very nice because, again, if you look over here, which is very nice because if you look on the other side here, right there, you have a headphone jack, right? So if you wanted to, you could use headphones and turn the main speakers here on and off. Then you have a line in and a line out right here, and you have those in 1/4 inch and also XLR for each channel. See that? Balance line out with the XLR jacks. And so that could go to a PA, to a mixer for recording and so on. Okay, then following through, you have also, and by the way, the line in and line out, right, is each channel. In other words, the right channel has a line in, a line out, and a balanced XLR line out, and the left channel as well, right, has a line in, a line out, and a balanced XLR line out. So that's pretty neat that those are separated for each channel. You know, and then on top of that, foot switch capable. And if memory serves me correctly, I may have a crate foot switch at home. I'm not sure. I'll find out. And here you can turn the chorus on and off, or channel select, right? And also reverb, right? So you have a foot switch, but the foot switch has, you know, two jacks that, so foot switchable. You can choose the channel and the reverb on and off, or chorus on and off as well. Okay. And here's a big beefy transformer there, power transformer. And here are the speakers. So here they are, right? And we'll see how they are. I have no idea. They are crate special design speakers, 12-inch speakers, and there are 2 of them, right? And I guess they call them custom design speakers. Right here, right? And let me see, what does that say? Is there anything I can read more into that? Okay. And here's the power cable. Now, granted, it's not detachable, right? But it's intact. It's pretty good, right? Yeah. Okay. So there it is, the G120C XL. Okay. So the next thing to do, and I guess it's in really good shape, I think. You know, and here you can see it's got a real reverb tank right there. And this is just a heat sink, I think, here. But here's the reverb tank. It's one of those spring reverbs, you know. And here it's got a little chip in the wood, but and then here's a little mark. But overall, very nice shape. So I've got it hooked up. It came on. No problems there. It's actually quite quiet. I'm quite surprised. Here it is, and just for fun, I'll turn... Alright, so here it is. I've got about 1/4 of the ways up on the volume knob. And the gain at about 5. Okay, now here it is without any reverb or chorus here. Okay. So that sounds okay. Quite frankly, at this point, right now, it kind of sounds like a PB Bandit, which some people like that amp. I'm not a big fan of that amp. Anyway, now, here's what I've discovered with this amp. It's actually quite modest as far as the reverb and chorus goes, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll turn the reverb up, you know. That's at halfway. I keep going. Doesn't really change all that much after that, which is quite interesting. So I'll put it at 60%, so about there. Okay, now, so here's pretty basic amp there. So now let's turn the chorus on. And I found the same thing with the chorus. Listen, the chorus on the PV, stereo chorus 212, is gigantic, and the reverbs are too. I mean, we're talking like, you know, the Grand Canyon pedal, it's like it's built in or something. It is huge. Huge reverbs, huge choruses, and so on. Here, not so much. I think it's very modest, very restrained, really. So let's turn it on. You can hear the difference. Now hold on. This could be very interesting. Now, if I turn that chorus up, we've got the depth here. Let me, I'll max out the depth and the rate I have about halfway. So that's pretty good. And here I'm going to turn up the volume to about halfway here. And I can even turn up the gain a little bit. So now it's kind of halfway. Let's hear that. So it does get pretty loud, but even there it's kind of it's modest in a way. Not what I expected, okay? It's very professional in a way. It's a hard way to describe it. You know, a lot of times you get these little amps and it's kind of like for beginners, you know, and so it's got all these crazy effects and things like that. And this is not like that at all. It's actually quite modest. Now here's what I've done. Even though it's in stereo, I like to add another amp, and I'm using an AB box, right? And let's hear the difference. Because by itself, it's quite, you know, plain, really. So here we go. Now let's try it. The little mini orange, a little 20-watt amplifier on the other side. Let's balance those. So now I've got the crate and the mini orange. Let's hear that. turn off the mini orange. You know, then I just got this kind of. This is straight into the amp here, and let's find out if it possibly is a good pedal platform amp. In other words, running pedals into the amp, and let's see what happens there. And you get a really nice sound with the reverb. amp here. And that's taking the EQ and turning down the treble a bit. So overall, impressions of this amplifier, it's not really what I expected at all. I found it to be very modest, or conservative, if you like, in its reverb and chorus functions. Not in a bad way, though. You know, it's not really a huge ambient stereo sound at all, you know. It's actually a much more intimate sound, if you like. Now listen, this was a inexpensive amp, new, you know, and, you know, being how old it is, you know, and what I paid for it, it's an inexpensive amp now, even more so. However, I think the volume is very good, and the sound is really good, you know. It's a little touchy, you know. I mean, I had to use some contact cleaner and kind of clean out those pots because they were getting kind of scratchy. And unfortunately, that's to be expected with older amps, you know. You know, dirt and things get in there and it gets dried out. But once I did that, it's pretty decent. I mean, you know, yeah. Once I did that, it was pretty decent. Okay. Now listen, there's also a gain channel, okay? And, you know, like a lot of inexpensive amps, the gain channel's sad. You know, if you're buying this amp or come across it, sound right there, really pretty nice. If you're buying this for the clean sounds, it's a great amp, really. But the gain channel is just sad. Here, I'll put it on. Here's the gain channel. Going for that kind of sound, I guess it's okay. But compared to, gain channels of more modern amps, this kind of pales in comparison. It's almost like a distortion over a clean sound, Now we're back to the clean channel. Okay, so in conclusion, this amp is very interesting. I'm glad I got a chance to show it to you. There's a few things. One, I think I'm quite spoiled using tube amps compared to solid state, Though I found that for a solid state amp, it was pretty solid, really. It was quite modest, though, in comparison to like the PV chorus amp, which is just kind of outrageous, really. Just a lot of huge, chorus and reverbs and things. And this was much more modest. Now, keep in mind, when I compare them to my other amps, right? My other amps I've played quite a bit, and so I'm pretty comfortable, as far as settings that I like and those kinds of things. Whereas here, this is a brand new amp, so trying out different things, and who knows, maybe down the road I'll find some setting that I like better than what I had then, what I've tried in this video. All in all, though, I think, for the price, you just can't go wrong. And the fact that it's lasted this long, is a good indicator of how solid this amp is, Unfortunately, I don't believe that crate is around anymore, so very interesting, but it is a solid state amp, and when you compare it to a tube amp, they don't quite compare, and I'm not knocking solid state amps. Some of them are very, very good. And this one, I think is, for what it is, on its own, it's kind of, a little better than a standard solid state amp. You know, now I found when I ran pedals into it, it was really quite amazing. You know, and running a 2 amps, and one of them being the crate, the other being the mini orange, gave me a really nice sound as well. Now, here's the thing. Do I keep it or do I sell it? You know, that remains to be seen. I'm not sure. Only problem is it's kind of a big amp, you know, size-wise, and I don't have much space. So this is something I've got to consider and think about as well. You know, I don't know. We'll see. And I have to be very careful because amps tend to grow on you, you know. The more that you use them, you go, oh, hey, wait a minute, this is getting kind of really good sound, you know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because I often reference old videos and things. And well, I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.